Hello and welcome to another edition of Currently in Quincy. I'm Joe Catalano. On today's program, we will learn all about the third bachelor's degree program that's being offered at Quincy College. First, though, as always, we take a look at the weather and the news for you. Currently in Quincy, some hazy sunshine out there. We're seeing some smoke again from the Canadian wildfires today, obscuring the sunshine. 79 degrees right now. We'll have increasing clouds throughout the day today. It's kind of muggy. The high in the lower 80s this afternoon. A slight risk of a shower later on this afternoon. Otherwise, just cloudy tonight. Temperatures drop into the lower 60s, and looks like a very unsettled pattern for the holiday weekend. Tomorrow, definitely the wetter of the 2 days. We've got rain, could be heavy at times, tapering off to some showers later in the day tomorrow, but highs only in the low 60s. Little unsettled Sunday, better though for Father's Day. Clouds, maybe a shower in the afternoon, and a high around 70 degrees. Right now, Juneteenth on Monday looks okay. It's improving. It'll have clearing skies with highs on Monday in the upper 60s. And the rest of next week actually starting to look a lot better than it did just a couple of days ago. Right now, some hazy sunshine and 79 degrees here in Quincy. Checking news for you today, the Quincy City Council has approved salary increases for department heads and other appointed non-union positions in city government. The council voted 8-1 in favor of the pay raises earlier this week. Councilor at large and mayoral hopeful Ann Mahoney voting against the increases. And Mahoney said that the wage increases were not applied fairly and were biased against women, something Mayor Thomas Koch said was untrue.
We are really not being fair to the people who work here in the city of Quincy in the way we're doing these salary increases. There are people who have been here for less than a year that are going to get a $30,000 raise, and people who have been here who do equally amount that kind of work that will go. So somebody who's less than a year will go up to $150,000. Somebody who's been here for 20 years might go up to $130,000. And those jobs are real, and their jobs are equal. They're equal. So I'm going to speak for them because honestly, it's just across the board. And you can say that you go and you looked at all those other departments and all those other cities and towns and how they did it, but I'm looking specifically at the people who work here in the city of Quincy and how these things were done. And it wasn't done in a fair and equitable way.
That's a lot of baloney. The reality is we set our salaries based on positions and responsibilities, and there's a number of key women in my administration do remarkable work from purchasing and treasurer collector, chair of assessors, the city clerk, the city auditor, the traffic engineer. I could go on, and the positions they're in, all of them got significant increases that meet the comparisons of those positions to other communities. So it was all about the positions. I think that's a bunch of political hogwash, quite frankly.
Salary increases were recommended by an outside consulting firm that surveyed salaries in similar-sized communities in Massachusetts and beyond. There was no increase in the mayor's salary. City Council this week also approved borrowing almost $14 million for a new clubhouse and improvements to Forbes Hill Park at the Furnace Brook Golf Course. Commissioner of Natural Resources Dave Murphy said the revenue from the golf course improvements, including greens fees, a new restaurant, and a state-of-the-art golf simulator, will pay for those improvements.
Revenue enhancement, we're projecting probably $250,000 to $300,000 a year in revenue from those simulators. If you take a look at the folks we've talked to in Braintree and Hingham, they don't have an available hour all year, and they put up temporary simulators that aren't going to be nearly as nice as the ones that we're planning for this particular facility. So we think that's going to be a significant enhancement in our revenue. We also think it's going to increase interest in the course itself, whether that's walk-up members, walk-up players, or additional membership. We've artificially suppressed the membership rate during construction, knowing that there's going to be some significant inconveniences. We also think that if we return to some of those historic membership levels for when it was a private course, we're not necessarily increasing the membership costs, we're just going back to the historic numbers. That also will increase our revenue pictures as well, too. So, the other piece of it is the food and beverage. I think there's an opportunity there. We have an existing contract that we signed that expires in '25 that we'll probably have to renew once that expires.
The city has taken control of the golf course after the 50-year lease with the former operators expired at the end of last year. City councilors this week also approved borrowing $4.5 million to make some improvements to the Kennedy Center and North Quincy High School. Commissioner of Public Buildings Paul Hines said both buildings need infrastructure upgrades, but the Kennedy Center has structural issues that need immediate attention.
We sent some engineers in there, and they found issues not with the foundation or the beams or the grade beams or the major portions of the foundation, but the supports of the first floor slab itself. If you can imagine the construction, it's much like a parking garage with precast forms where they're shaped like a T. And many times if you see an overpass of a bridge and a highway, you'll see that the concrete is broken and the steel rebar that's within that concrete is rusted. And when that concrete is impacted by the rusting rebar, it fractures because the rebar expands when it rusts. So it breaks off the concrete and exposing the rebar to the further moisture and further deterioration. It's actually the opinion of the engineers who surveyed the building that, by and large, the problem with the building was a matter of a poor quality of original construction. And it's just exacerbated with time, and it is accelerating.
So $3.5 million will be used for improvements to the Kennedy Center and $1.7 million for new boilers and a hot water system at North Quincy High School. Hines said that money from an earlier bond for the North Quincy Fire Station can be used to make up the difference. A parent of that 7th grader who brought an unloaded handgun to Quincy's Central Middle School on Tuesday will face charges. Police say they will charge the parent with reckless behavior causing risk of abuse to a child and having an improperly secured firearm. Quincy School Superintendent Kevin Mulvey told the school committee this week that the student got the gun from home and then showed it to other students outside the school after classes on Tuesday afternoon.
Because of their efforts, they were able to seize the gun, and that is in custody with the Quincy police. And of course, there'll be legal consequences, I'm sure, relative to that, and that will be in the hands of the Quincy police. We then took it from a school perspective to initiate, obviously, student discipline procedures, which will move forward. Of course, as I said in my letter, the student will not be returning to Central Middle School. We of course, will take this extremely seriously. It's one of the most dangerous events we've seen in quite a long time in Quincy, and we'll take what happened very seriously, and significant disciplinary consequences will result.
Mulvey praised the students who reported the gun to authorities, and police say they have seized that weapon. Mulvey says a hearing about the student's future will be held later, but that the student will not return to that school this year. The parent faces fines of up to $7,500 and up to 2.5 years in prison. The Quincy Fire Department's annual memorial service to honor firefighters who've died over the past year was held this past Sunday at the Firefighters Memorial at Mount Wollaston Cemetery. Deacon John Menz offered his thanks to city and state officials who've supported increased funding and staffing for the fire department.
To the leadership of our government leaders. So I personally want to thank all of them, and I believe Ladder 4 will be in service on July 1st, and we're able to go about the city wherever it's needed, and hopefully down the road we'll have Ladder 3 also in the West Quincy district. I've been talking to Councilor Devine, and he's on board, and I know they all will be when the appropriate times come. Thank you, and
prayers were offered for the families and friends of the 5 Quincy firefighters who've died over the past year. The Quincy Police Department's annual memorial service was held the first Sunday in June at the Police Memorial at Mount Wollaston Cemetery. It's our check of news for you today. Coming up, the newest bachelor's program at Quincy College. We'll learn all about it next. Welcome back. We continue our monthly spotlight on the different people and programs and classes available at Quincy College. And today we're featuring the newest four-year bachelor's degree program in psychology at Quincy College with Professor Ken Texeira and student Melissa Alphonse. Welcome to you both.
Thanks for having us. This is great.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to learning, first of all, Ken, about this new program, and second of all, Melissa, certainly about your story in the program and how you got to be there. This is really, Ken, it's amazing how quickly things have advanced at the college, right? It was, I think, late fall 2021, that the first four-year program, business management. Soon after that, about a year ago, computer science, and now here we are.
Now psychology. And the process has been amazing. It's a well-honed one now. It was lucky to be number 3.
Yeah.
And it was chosen psych because it's such a popular program. And we have great infrastructure and faculty in the program. So it was just the next logical step to support people and, Quincy residents and our little campus in Plymouth, and we're also online to create a four-year program for people.
Yeah, so there has already been an existing psychology program at Quincy College?
We've always had psych, and as long as I've been, 15 years and over. And it's a really popular program. It was an associate's, but now you can stay and have all the cost savings and convenience of Quincy College, but have a bachelor's program in psychology.
Which is what Melissa is doing, right?
Yes.
Yeah. But if you can talk a little bit about the extraordinary effort that it took to get this program, all the approvals and accreditations that it needed.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was a journeyman's work, and thank you to Survey Yachten and President DiCristofaro and the whole team, my boss and Kellogg, our new faculty member in psychology. We're actually looking right now for a person in cognitive science, just to make sure that we're as cutting edge as we possibly can be. So we'll have a neuroscience track within the psych program too. But yeah, it was a lot of work, and it was a team effort from the whole school, curriculum committees, and then it's been approved. So it's an accredited program within a year's time. So we're really proud of the effort that we put in.
Yeah. What does accredited mean?
So accredited means that any credits that you get here will transfer anywhere.
Okay.
So we're 100% legitimate in the eyes of the accrediting bodies.
Right. Yeah. Now, did you have to bring on additional staff?
Yep, we hired a new person, and we're going to get another person, and then we're always looking for great people to teach part-time also. So we have a great cast of characters in a psych program.
Okay, so from what I understand, the associates program has been quite popular?
Very popular.
Really?
It's probably top 3, top 4 or 5, within the liberal arts and then overall in the school.
Yeah.
A lot of people like psychology, and you don't have to be a psychologist if you have a psych degree. So it's an attractive program for people going into business. Some people want to up their skills and they're working maybe in a big box store, but that just having a degree will allow them to make more money and move into management, more the corporate side. So there's tons of flexibility with a program like that.
So what does the curriculum look like for somebody who is majoring in psychology?
So really exciting, and I was a big part of helping and develop this. We have pillars, so you can specialize within psychology and use it any way you want. So we have a research track, so you can do research. We actually have a business certificate, so if you want to do I.O. or get into human resources or look at industrial organizational psychology. Sorry, I am full of the acronyms.
That's right. I'm here to dispel them.
Excellent. And we also have, you could be, traditional clinical route, diversity, equity, and inclusion for multicultural studies. And then we also have, we're going to have cognitive neuroscience, which is brand new. And so we'll have a cognitive class, and then social. So like looking at social things in groups and organizations. So.
And the student chooses what track they want to follow?
So there's 5 pillars, and they take one of each, so they have to get a little bit of all of it, but then they can specialize how they want in their degree.
Okay, all right. And once they have that degree, what can they do with it, Ken? Where can that lead them?
The traditional old model would be go to graduate school and, get that degree and become a therapist or something like that, obviously teaching. But I find more people are working kind of in a gig economy as social workers. I have people working in prisons, working with incarcerated veterans. So you can really take that skill set, and everyone likes people who can work with people and understand people. So it's very transferable to sales and getting right into the workforce.
Sure. We know we've heard a lot about the mental health crisis as a result of the pandemic. So do you foresee a need in this field going forward?
Yeah, and there's a lot of changes in the field. They're streamlining the process and helping people get licensure so that they can work and as effective counselors. So this is something that we're really excited to. I really want to create an army of healers or researchers or scientists, but it's a program, like Melissa will say, that you can kind of do what you want with it and get those skills.
Yeah, transferable skills, they call them, right? Soft skills.
Soft skills,
that you develop, Has the remote work infiltrated the field of psychology.
Everything we build now, we build as assuming it's going online first.
Really?
And so that helps, one, because we have a great team working with us to create really cutting-edge, beautiful, slick online coursework.
Sure.
And challenging different kind of assignments and such. And then we have in-classes opportunities too. So you can take a couple classes online if you want. You can take it all online if you want. And then you can have in-person classes too, because everyone likes something different. And every learner's different. So we really try to give people what they need to be successful.
Yeah. Has it also changed the way psychologists do their job?
Absolutely. Telehealth is massive.
Yes.
And I love it because it's lowered the boundaries of a lot of people that might be nervous to go into a hospital or a clinical setting. And they can do it right from their truck, car, living room, and get support. So telehealth is huge.
Yeah, okay. Is it being recognized by, quote unquote, the bigger learning institutions?
Absolutely.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, and I think one thing beautiful about Quincy College is we're small enough and tactical enough to really respond to different changes. So we can have an asymmetrical impact and really support.
Right, exactly. Melissa, I want to hear about your story. First of all, how long have you been a student at Quincy College?
I just finished my first semester.
Oh, so you're relatively new. Okay.
Yes.
How did you come to attend classes at Quincy College?
So at first I went to a HBCU in Maryland, and I was doing nursing.
Okay, HBC?
HBCU, Historically Black College or University.
In Maryland?
Yeah, in Maryland.
Okay.
Yeah, and I loved it. It was great, but due to financial aid issues, I had to come home. And I came home, went to another community college, and the support system wasn't as great. So it kind of discouraged me from doing nursing or any college at all. And then COVID hit, which made that even worse. But after I found my groove again, I discovered that psychology was definitely the route that I wanted to go to. And coming to Quincy College, I have a best friend that goes here, and just all the support I've gotten from the faculty, everyone literally has encouraged me more and more every day to stay in the psychology.
Okay, so you started out in the associate's program.
Yes.
And then when you found out, they're offering a bachelor's program.
I was all
There was no
no yes or no. Yeah, it was all set for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you grow up in the area?
I grew up in Randolph, actually.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Public schools?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I went to Blue Hills for high school.
Okay. Initially thinking, because they have a nursing program.
I didn't do the nursing program over there. No, I did culinary.
Oh, did you culinary?
Yeah.
So you really were trying to find your way, it sounds like.
So it was a little competitive to get into nursing at Blue Hills.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of culinary people in my family too.
Okay.
So it didn't matter to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So do you think that the psychology roots may lead you back to nursing at some point?
No.
Oh.
No. I feel like for me it's more me.
You found your path.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So what's the experience been like so far in the 4-year program?
So I I finished my first semester, finished off with great grades and everything.
Excellent, congratulations.
Thank you.
That's excellent.
And honestly, I'm just excited to see what's next. And I've been not experiencing, but I've been introduced to the neuro side of psychology.
Side.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think I want to go down that route.
Okay.
As the years go by.
So a master's, perhaps?
Yeah.
And
Definitely
so what is
wanna get
neuroscience?
Neuro is it's basically the study of the nervous system and your mind, and seeing what things cause things, not what things, but what cause certain not behaviors, but why certain problems connect,
manifest themselves. Yeah. So there is still a bit of a medical twinge to what you're
I still want to go that route, but I believe that
in a different route.
Yeah.
Interesting. What do you see yourself doing with your degree in the long term?
Honestly, I would like to open my own own practice, own firm or anything. But if I could be in the hospital, in the head of the department and stuff like that, I would definitely do that.
Okay.
I like that you said head of the department.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Right to the top.
Yes.
Yeah. But again, there is that desire, I guess, as a nurse. Nurses inherently, I think, can desire to help people.
Yeah.
Right? So if you're not doing it medically, you're doing it with mental health counseling, which I know is being seen now as much more mainstream, especially in emergency rooms. There are mental health counselors in emergency rooms now.
Yeah.
It's the stigma is being lifted, I think,
Yeah,
from folks who are experiencing mental health issues. And, proof with a young person like Melissa here, willing to dedicate her life to that, for sure. Are you seeing that in other students as well?
One thing, and I see this, the great, some people called it the resignation, but I find it the great empowerment of people trying to really find meaningful work after COVID.
Yes.
And so a lot of people career changing.
Yes.
And having a general wanting to help, but a lot of people that go into nursing, because that is the kind of what people think of first as far as a helping field.
Yeah.
Then they say, you know what, maybe I want to do psych nursing, or I want to do psychology, or study the brain, or do counseling, or therapy. Or, and one thing that's huge, especially in Boston, is we have so many research opportunities working with folks in cancer care, or doing clinical trial work. So we always want to have a good foundation of research and methodology too, so people can think like a scientist and then bring that to where they want to go.
Absolutely. Really narrow it down, right? Hyper-focused on, a specialty within your field.
And the further you go, the more specialized you become, know, so.
Yes. Yeah. At the college itself, going forward, do you see other programs, other baccalaureate programs in this field? Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, there's probably some other helping fields that are on the horizon.
Okay.
So, I think I'm allowed to say that. But absolutely. And then, we have so much support for law enforcement, and we do a lot of work with criminal justice folks. We're supporting nurses all the time.
Of course.
So we're a hub that everyone will get a little bit of psychology, and then I'm lucky that a lot of people want to stay, because it is a warm program, and I think they get a lot of value for their money.
Yeah, not only that, but they stay and come back and teach, right?
Yeah, we've had a lot of people coming back working for the school. We'd love to see, our bright, shining students and be able to grab them first.
Yes,
so we have, we better take them before somebody steals them,
Do you envision yourself teaching one day, Melissa?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, with the way everything's been going for me, I could end up teaching. But right now,
a little on the side, maybe.
Yeah, a little something, maybe.
Yeah. Awesome. So you're just finishing up your first semester.
Yes.
So what were some of your favorite classes?
Obviously, psychology.
Good answer.
I'll keep my job another year.
What track are you following of the 5 pillars that Ken mentioned?
So I believe neuro's part of it.
Okay.
So
Cognitive and neurology, sure.
Okay. Other favorite?
Any part of psychology would be a fit for me, I would believe. In maybe behavioral, focus specifically on behavior would be another one. But I think I'm more towards neuro.
Yeah. Do you have your classes planned for the next semester?
Yep, already signed up and everything.
Okay, tell us what they're going to be.
So I have biology, state government, and then just another math class in English.
Okay, all right. So you full-time in person, or are you doing any remote
full-time in
classes?
person.
Full-time in person. Do you prefer that?
Yes, because I want to have Metcalf.
Well, of course. That goes without saying.
And I feel like you build a relationship with your professor.
Yeah.
And I'm very heavy on if you can teach me in a way that I'm comfortable. I'd rather have that relationship there and be able to see and ask questions on hand.
Yes.
I don't really like the remote thing.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
I'm sure it was a challenge, Ken, for you as a professor to do what that went at the first days of the pandemic, to teach remotely.
We've been lucky in that we've had a lot of online programming, so some of it transferred pretty easily. Okay. But the just the suddenness of it. Remember, because it was hey, it's only going to be a couple weeks, so we'll get back to class maybe, and then it wasn't. But yeah, we pivoted and we rose to the challenge. And what happened during the pandemic is it forced all faculty to really optimize our online. And thanks for Dr. D and her wonderful work in creating the online and directing online activity. And then there's instructional designers to help us. So a lot of the content that we already have, it's just translating into an online format.
Right.
It does take a special kind of discipline, though.
I would think,
so students really need. For me personally, when I started doing online, and even over the pandemic, I would bring my laptop to a coffee shop or somewhere and pretend I was going to class and set up 2 hours. I'm in class.
The physical act of going to a different location. Right?
Yeah, and making that, and that helped keep me on schedule. This
time
is
management.
Yes, the other thing I need to do. So.
Yeah. So Melissa, for peers in your age group that are considering following the field of psychology, what would be your advice to them?
Find people that believe in you and surround yourself with people that believe in you, because that helps a lot.
Really?
Yeah. So having a good support system and just keep going. You never know where you'll land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been great to learn your story, and I wish you the
you.
very best in the future.
Thank you so much.
So, and Ken, it's been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you for having us. This is great.
Thanks for
Anytime.
highlighting the program, and we'll have the college president back to talk about the next 4-year program.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, I can't steal any shine.
That's right, exactly. Thanks again.
Thanks again.
You are very welcome. Just enough time to check the forecast for you for the rest of the day today. It's kind of what you see is what you get out there, some hazy sunshine. Very summer-like. It's kind of muggy with temperatures topping off in the low 80s this afternoon. Maybe a shower later on. Tonight, dip to the lower 60s. That sets us up for a cool, kind of damp weekend. Tomorrow, definitely about of a washout, really. 63 for a high with off and on showers and rain. Some of it could be heavy at times. A little better on Sunday. Maybe Dad can get the golf game in on a Sunday afternoon with a high around 70. Much better on Monday with some clearing later in the day and a high near 70 degrees. Thanks again to Ken Texeira and Melissa Alphonse for joining us here on the program.
Thank you.
Thanks to our crew. Thank you for watching. Speaking of Monday, we're off for the Juneteenth holiday. Join us again next Friday. The Car Doctor, John Paul from AAA, will be here with some summertime driving advice. Meantime, check our website anytime. It's qatv.org. You'll find all of our latest programs there. There's news and information, video on demand, live streaming, and a whole lot more. For all of us here at QATV, I'm Joe Catalano. Have a great week.